Welcome back to the channel. And with the World Cup truly upon us now, we will continue to look at all things World Cup. And in today's video, we will be taking a look at some of the players who will not be featuring in the World Cup due to injury. The World Cup will be unforgettable. It will feature dozens of stars who will delight fans of the beautiful game, but there will also be others whose absence will be keenly felt. And in today's video, we will look at some of those players. And we will kick things off with the German player, Serge Gnabry. Gnabry, the Bayern Munich winger, tore the abductor in his right leg at the end of April and simply could not recover in time. The former Arsenal player was first called up for Germany in November 2016 and scored a hat-trick on his debut in a World Cup qualifier versus San Marino just 7 days later. He was in the German squads for both Euro 2020 and the 2022 FIFA World Cup. His career has, however, been dogged by injuries, and this will be the second time he is missing out on a major international tournament, having missed the 2024 Euros with a torn muscle. Now 30, and with his history of major injuries, it is unlikely that he will feature for Germany in another World Cup tournament. Next up is Brazilian right back Wesley. Wesley's absence have left Brazil with a serious problem. It's a serious blow, and it came right ahead of the start of the World Cup, with Wesley dropping out of the squad after an injury sustained in a warm-up match. His absence is especially sensitive because Wesley was one of Carlo Ancelotti's most important options at right back, if not his most important. The Roma star's defensive attributes would have been critical for a Brazil team lacking in depth at the position, but also important was the threat he posed in attack down that right side, and this one will definitely hurt Brazil. Next up, we have the German teenager Karl Lennart, and he's our second German on this list. The German Football Association has announced that Lennart will miss the World Cup after suffering a tear in the muscle of his left thigh during the national team's training session in Chicago. This season has been a breakout season for Lennart, who earned his first senior call-up in March of this year. Lennart was the youngest player in the German squad and a footballer who was not necessarily expected to carry the team immediately, but his call-up had both symbolic and sporting value. As an 18-year-old, the Bayern player represented part of the new generation with which coach Julian Nagelsmann is trying to refresh the German national team. His loss is therefore not only the loss of an option for coaching Nagelsmann, but a blow to the transition process that the Germans will undergo following this World Cup. For more on that, you can see our preview video on the German national team, and we will put the link for that video down in the description. Next on our list is versatile Dutch defender Jurien Timber. Many of us were surprised by Timber's exclusion, having seen him play 55 minutes in the UEFA Champions League finals versus PSG just a few weeks ago. He was, however, coming off a groin injury, and he has had a few niggling injuries all season. And coach Ronald Koeman just did not trust him enough to think he could withstand the intensity of a World Cup. As a result, he stays home. Next up, we have Argentina defender Juan Foyt. The Villarreal defender is one of many who have suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon in recent months. Yes, Achilles tendon injuries and ligament injuries have just ravaged football players all season. And Foyt has fallen victim to that bug as well. And in his case, it was his left Achilles at the end of January, and that ended his season, and it ended any hopes of him participating at the World Cup. He's followed by another Argentinian, Joaquin Panicelli. The Strasbourg striker tore the cruciate ligament in his right knee during a training session with the Argentina squad at the end of March, and that was that. Next up, we have Austrian star Christoph Baumgartner. The RB Leipzig midfielder and the Austrian star was injured during preparations and will not play at the World Cup. Even so, Austria has opted not to replace him and will only have 25 players on their roster for the tournament. This is an impact player, and the Austrians are definitely going to miss him. Next up, we have Marcelo Flores from Canada. Flores is a midfielder of Mexican descent and was expected to star for co-host Canada when he was named to the 26-man squad for the World Cup on May 29th. Unfortunately for Flores and the Canadians, he tore his ACL the very next day during the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And that was that. World Cup dream over. Next up, we have Fermin Lopez, the Barcelona and Spain star. The Barca midfielder who was in contention for a starting spot at the World Cup broke the fifth metatarsal in his right foot on the final day of La Liga. Can you imagine? The final day. And as such, he will not be joining his 7 Barca teammates on the Spanish team at the World Cup. Get well soon, Fermin. Next up is another Spaniard, and this time it is Samu Omarodian. The big Porto striker suffered a torn ACL in his right knee in February, and that ended his World Cup dream there and then. Next up, we have a player from the United States, Patrick Aguillemang. The Derby County striker ruptured his Achilles tendon at the start of April, ending his World Cup dream. Next on our list, we have Francis Hugo Ekitike. The Liverpool striker tore his Achilles tendon with a movement inside the box during a Champions League match against PSG in April. That one move put an end to what had, up until then, been a solid first season on Merseyside. It also put an end to any hopes of appearing in his first World Cup. That's the nature of the beast, my friends. Next up is Japan's Takumi Minamino. The Monaco midfielder suffered a cruciate ligament rupture in his left knee in December while playing in the French Cup. The loss of his experience and technical ability in the middle of the park will definitely be felt by the Samurai Blue. Our next player on the list is another Monaco player, and this time it's Mohamed Salisu of Ghana. Salisu tore the ACL in his left knee, and like teammate Minamino, but his injury came about 1 month later in January of this year. What the heck is happening in Monaco? Get well soon, Mohamed. Next up, we have the Englishman, Jack Grealish. The Everton attacking midfielder suffered a stress fracture in his left foot in mid-January and underwent surgery in February and has been sidelined since. Up until that point, Grealish had been putting together a decent season under David Moyes after escaping Manchester City on loan. Next up, we have a player from one of the co-hosts, Luis Malagon from Mexico. The goalkeeper injured his left Achilles tendon in mid-March, and this World Cup will be watched from the sideline. Fortunately, he will not have to travel to see his beloved L3 in action, as Mexico play all their group games at home. Next up, we have the Tottenham midfielder and Netherlands star, Xavi Simons. This one is pretty brutal for the Dutch. Simons was expected to be one of the stars of this World Cup, but unfortunately, he went down late in the season with a torn ACL in his right knee, and that was that. If there is a silver lining, it is he will still be playing in the EPL when he returns from injury next year. Tottenham Hotspurs having avoided relegation on the last day of the season. Get well soon, Xavi. The EPL will welcome you back with open arms. We have another Dutchman following Simons, and that's Matthias de Ligt, the Manchester United centre back. And he hasn't played since November of 2025. He underwent back surgery in May, and he will be watching from home. Hopefully, Manchester United fans will be expecting him to be ready in time for the upcoming EPL season. The next player on our list is also from the Netherlands, and this is PSV star Jerdy Schouten. Schouten had to say goodbye to the World Cup very early due to an ACL injury suffered in April in a match in the Eredivisie. His loss and that of Simons leaves a massive hole in Koeman's midfield. It is not looking good for the Dutch, especially when you add the absence of Timber to the absence of these two players. That's four Dutch players who were expected to be starters who are out of the World Cup. And to round out our list, we have three Brazilians as we conclude our list of unfortunates. And we will kick off with Rodrigo. Rodrigo, the Real Madrid forward, also suffered an ACL tear as well as an external meniscus injury in his right knee at the start of March. That injury not only ended his domestic season, but it also ended his World Cup dreams. Next up is Real Madrid defender Eder Militao. Militao has had a injury-hit season. He had already overcome two previous ACL ruptures before the season, and he had to undergo surgery again, this time for a torn left bicep femoris tendon, which he picked up in April. When he picked up that injury, it was thought that it was not that serious and he would have been able to make the World Cup. However, as time progressed, they realized it was a pretty serious injury requiring surgery, and he will be sidelined until October at the least. And finally, the list is rounded out by Brazilian starlet Estevao, who was left out of Ancelotti's squad due to a right hamstring tear suffered with club team Chelsea in the back end of the season. And that put paid to another very exciting player who a lot of us were looking forward to seeing on the global stage, but it was not meant to be, and we will have to wait until another international tournament to see Estevao and others on this list who have not been able to make it as a result of injury. That wraps up our list. And until next time, we invite you to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share a comment, and until next time, keep playing.